Sailor the Piper Man. I didn't know if I was on or not. Howdy, this is Sailor the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man here. Come to you from the island of Puerto Rico. Boy, I got that down, don't I? How you guys doing? My third smoke on my new pipe. Holding up, doing well. Loving it. I'm just waiting for another order that's supposed to be arriving today. I'm sitting out here to make sure you don't go by. And I want to talk about something. I want to talk about Donald Rumsfeld. You know, I had no idea that Halliburton either he had shares in it or was had major involvement like CEO or XO of that company that at one time tried to hire me as a contractor back in the 80s, and that prior to him taking any political office, he sold the shares of his company, or he gave them away, or he did something. And as soon as he did that, and he walked away from Halliburton, I knew the Bushes had shares, but he couldn't take office unless he give up his stock or whatever, because the government was going to give a contract to Halliburton. So he couldn't have been a politician working for the federal government at the same time hold shares to a company that had a federal contract. But I'm sure all his friends and all his connections made out with the fact that he was close to the President of the United States. And I'm sure he worked as a lobbyist. What was interesting was he made a comment just before 9/11 that I don't know how many trillions of dollars were missing. And right after he said that comment, the World Trade Center got bombed. I don't know how much money we spend in Afghanistan, but I was watching the Joe Rogan show, and he had somebody on that was saying, who was closer to the events, that the government spent in Afghanistan around $2.3 trillion. And you know, the whole thing was the whole story about Iraq, whether it was fabricated or not. I'm sure there's a couple of pictures that came out with the fact that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and that was all a hoax and a way of getting us involved in the military and torturing of people and stuff like that. This guy was really a character. He was really a character. And I said to him, how can a guy like that get into power? How can? And it's got to be he's so connected with people. You know? And you have people that are in power that essentially are put there, right? Because people give them money to run for these elective office, these lobbyists, and they want their man in office, they're gonna most likely get their man in office. And it's a damn shame that those in power, you know, not only do they become rich, but they're benefiting from the taxpayers' money, and they have no idea what it is to be poor or to come up. Very few of them have ever worked their way up from nothing. Very few. You know, in terms of a percentage, very few, small percentage, maybe 10%, maybe less. And makes me wonder, where did patriotism go? You know? And we got to be careful with patriotism, because I consider myself a patriot, but I'm not at the fanatical extreme like some people that went ahead and took certain words that a president said and hyperboled and reacted in a way that an American, a law-abiding American, shouldn't be acting. And it's the same way in the left. To the point now where there's no rhyme or reason. It's just it's a struggle, political struggle. And I'm wondering what is going to happen in these next year elections, if we even have one. You know, what's going to happen? Another thing, I'm gonna put this in the random thoughts. So I believe it's next year, 23. The assassination investigation paperwork comes out, and we're gonna really see what happened. I've always believed there was a conglomerate group, not just one group, but various groups that ordered the hit on John F. Kennedy. One of them being the Joint Chief of Staff, who were totally invested in the Cold War, were veterans of World War II, Eisenhower and a group of others, and saw the threat of Russia being real, very real. It was very real, even when I was a kid. And you had all kind of people. You know, you had the MacArthur hearings and the crackdown, the press on communist activities in the U.S. and unions and stuff like that. You know, and then people buying everything that the media was saying. You know, communism in Hollywood. That might not have been far from the case. I'm sure there were some innocent people that maybe not so innocent, but I would think that you know somebody that's involved in something, even though you're not, but because you know them, you get caught up in their circumstance and circumstance, and you take a fall too. And it's really something oil. what's going on in Washington, D.C. It's become such a confusion. It's hard to, if you really haven't been following for a long time and being stick to itiveness, you tend to just go out and live your life and come back, and all you get is fragmented view of what's really going down. So what I do is I tend to look towards foreign policy, how the world is viewing America. I hear news from foreign policy towards America. What is their view? What are their editorials? I try to read between the lines, and it doesn't look good. I'm at that point where there's not much I could do about it. And my whole purpose is to try, even though I'm aging, to do some critical thinking. And realizing that, whatever somebody else don't know and I do know, keep them abreast. Why, I don't know. I just feel that that's what I should be doing. Giving an alternative view of what's really going down. And so many covert things have been happening, and it's very interesting how Hollywood is disseminating information through the pictures, and you can actually catch some of it. You know? So very interesting. Well, that's random thoughts for today. Say to the Piperman, Piper the Sailorman. You guys take care and smoke up.